We are back with Chicago actor Joe Mantegna.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, we know that you are a lifelong Cubbies fan.
Oh, yeah.
You've thrown out the first pitch many times, saying the seventh inning stretch, but I love the story you say about your mother, who lived to be 101.
Yeah, she's 101 years old. She just passed away a few weeks ago. I was here in Chicago for that, but you know, we celebrated her life because at 101 years old. But they would interview me, right, all during last season, and they would say, well, what do you think about the Cubs' chances? I said, listen, my mom's 101. First of all, the Cubs were on a 7-year losing streak the year she was born, first of all, and she's waited long enough. So, and they came through, and I think that helped Mom to be able to say, okay.
She got to see it.
She got to see it.
You're singing again on this week,
this
right?
Friday I'll be throwing out the first pitch, singing the seventh again. So it's always a thrill.
This also means you have very good genes that run in your family. I mean, you look great.
I don't say hanging in there. You know what I mean? Everything in moderation, including moderation. That's my motto.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think the last time you were here, you had just gotten a street named after you in Chicago, and now you're getting
in Cicero.
In Cicero,
yeah.
And now you're getting another one.
Yeah, this is going to be in Chicago. It's going to be right by the River Shannon, where when I was a student at the Goodman School of Drama, which was in the Art Institute back then, myself and two of my roommates, we lived upstairs of the River Shannon over at Armitage and Hudson, and now they're going to be putting a plaque there. I guess saying Joe lived up here. I don't know. But it's very, I'm very honored. I mean, to have the street in Cicero, because that's where I went to high school and junior college, and I started being an actor, and then to go to acting school at the Goodman and to have the thing there, where I stayed in that apartment. It's, I feel very blessed. Great, nothing to complain about. A great career, and I'm just proud to be Chicagoan. Happy to be here.
Well deserved.
At this rate, it's going to be like, okay, make a left on Joe Mantegna Drive, then make a right on Joe Mantegna Avenue.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, I'll tell you, I know there's a Chicago guy who has been very influential in your career. I want you to look into this camera right here, Joe.
Okay.
He happens to be a Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright, your buddy David Mamet, and he has a message for you.
Okay.
Joe, hi, Dave Mamet from the old neighborhood. Here's a poem. You might get a gilded medallion from the hand of the mighty of earth. Now carry it to the pawn shop and see what they tell you it's worth. There's a world of commercial honors and the meaningless praise of a king, but when they name a street after you, by God, that's the real thing. His voice is the voice of Chicago. He honors the job he chose by his loyalty to his native speech and the language of D's, dem, and does. Some believe in predestination or the predictive power of a dream. We're here to honor a man today who believed in the old home team. God bless you, Joe. Love, Dave.
Oh, that's great. Oh, thank you so much. That's fantastic. Yeah, well, Dave, I mean, he is very instrumental in my career. I mean, just all the work I did with him. And when I got my star on the Walk of Fame, he was I had him speak, and then a 3-star Marine general both spoke on my behalf. And when Dave spoke, one of the things he did is he said, well, Joe invited me to speak because he was going to get a star on the Walk of Fame. And then he pulls out a crowbar he had brought. And then he says, I didn't realize they were giving it to him. It was when the Chicago guy says, you're going to get a star. I thought I needed this to help him get it. And he had it engraved, had my name on it. So that crowbar is in a very special place.
I love it.
Well, hey, you have 2 streets named after you, but we were thinking, what else could be named after you? Well, it turns out that the Fat Shallot, which makes wonderful sandwiches, is actually going to name a sandwich after you.
Oh.
They're incredible. They're at Revival Food Hall, and they also have a food truck. I recently just featured them for the best BLT, but that's because I hadn't tried this sandwich yet. This is a Joe
Well,
Mantegna.
Fat Tony should have a fat sandwich.
That's right.
I mean,
There you go.
There's
The
some-
Joe Mantegna.
Yeah, from the Fat Shallot.
oh, look at that
Thank
eggplant.
you. Yes.
As Fat
It's an-
Tony might say, this is delicious.
Well, this is an Italian, but they've also added eggplant on it as well.
Oh, yeah, I see
with
that.
buffalo mozzarella, and there's arugula on there, and of course, giardiniera.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
That's great.
Well, you can celebrate Joe Street naming with Joe today from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at River Shannon. All of the proceeds benefit Easter Seals Chicago. So head to WindyCityLive.com for all of the info. Joe, come back and see us anytime.
Thank you much. My pleasure. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, coming up next, I sit down with Kurt Russell and Michael Rooker from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And later, it's getting down to the wire for Chef Frank. What does he have up his sleeve in our In the Kitchen challenge? We'll be checking in.